Divine healing. I believe in divine healing. The gospel of grace provides healing in the body and soul. The tripartite being of body, soul, and spirit can trust the Father to take care of us, regardless of where the need is. Healing for mind and body is amply provided for in the Apostle Paul's message. Paul brought healing to the sick, he raised the dead, and trusted the Lord in every crisis and event of his life. It is to Paul that we look to find how a human should live and how they should die. A further fact is that all healing in body and soul comes from and through Christ and Christ alone. Christ is the only healer there is. A remarkable thing has happened in our day with a Christ life message. By the revelation of Christ in the believer is able to apply Christ life healing by simply trusting our new life. In the past, believers would have to go through the tremendous effort getting and applying their faith to believe that God would heal their sick bodies. Now, with the knowledge of Christ in us, we can simply trust the Lord with full confidence. He hears us and is working in our behalf. If there is no immediate answer, our trust in the Father that birthed us will be unwavering because we cannot, under any circumstance, be separated from the Christ who is in us. How blessed the healer lives in the believers today. Jesus of Nazareth taught a different healing message. He taught that the greater faith a believer had, the greater blessing they would receive. His message at that time was a message still under Moses' law. After the cross, with Paul ushering in the new creation life, grace provided an entirely new way of trusting God. This made a great change on the way believers would live and die. We now had Christ's birth in us, with the knowledge that we were in a non separated state from Him. All we need to do was to trust the Father for healing or any need we might have. God's grace was always sufficient. Trusting in the Christ that lives in us has been a real test for today's believers. They have lived so long under the pressure of law religion that it's difficult for them to let go of their own works to get something from the Lord. They have been taught that God will not heal them unless they do some remarkable thing to get His attention. They have been taught to get more faith, to make a new consecration, get free of all their sin. They have been taught to pay the church or the preacher a good offering if they want God to help them. Sadly, all of these things can be done and still there will be no healing. This is because this is not the way God is dealing with His birth children today. This is the day of unlimited grace when it is Christ in the believer who is the healer. All healing comes from Christ. Whether it happens when some preachers prays for you, or when you go to the hospital, or when you call a medical doctor, or when you have an operation, or when you take some prescribed medicine. Christ is the only healer of body and soul. At all times, Christ like believers should keep their trust in the Christ living in us. In grace, it is always His faith working. Simply trust Him. Then, whether we live or die, we will never have the condemnation that we did not have enough faith and God could not heal us. Christ is the healer, the only healer. No method of healing works if Christ is not involved. To God be the glory. God bless you.